great to be with you. It's really exciting to know that this is being streamed through houses and offices across the country and even the globe, I imagine. And it's nice to see some familiar faces out there as well. You know, after 2 days of the Food Tank Summit, do you get the feeling that we're onto something? You know, you get the feeling maybe the winds are changing a little bit. I think it's exciting. To me, there's a feeling that more and more people are lifting their heads and seeing that a good food system, one that offers healthy food, fair food, sustainably grown food to their communities and their kids is what they want. Yesterday at the closing of the day, Michel Nichon put his finger on it for me. He said, it's going to be a food movement to be reckoned with. And that's where we're at. Indeed, there's an evolution going on here, right? I didn't say revolution, I said evolution. Now, why did I say that? Because I believe this is the natural course of things. We tried feeding ourselves from the factory farm. We tried feeding ourselves from the factory food system, and what did we get? I think you all know. We got diabetes, obesity, dead zones in the Gulf, antibiotic resistance, fast food chains, and so on. Driving out independently owned and family-run businesses from our communities. We got the lowest common denominator, and we called it food, and we called it progress. But because of people like you and many farmers and advocates and businesses across the country, we're changing course. There's a change in the winds. We have over 8,000 farmers markets, farm-to-school procurement in 44% of our public schools, impacting over 23 million children. We have food stamps in farmers markets. Who would have thunk? Over 300 food hubs working with over 12,000 family farms across the country. We have support from USDA, and we have support from land grants across the country. By the best estimate, local food sales are over $9 billion annually. Our food system is evolving, and at the root of that food system, at the root of innovation, evolution is innovation at every stage, from farm to fork. In thinking about the title of this session, democratizing anything to me suggests self-determination. It suggests that if we transfer our responsibility to the few or the powerful, the result may not meet our needs. Democratizing innovation in food means we don't leave innovation to those that have been anointed as the innovators. It means that our communities and our regions take back some of that responsibility so that the food system does meet our needs, so that there's healthy food on our plates, fair and equitable supply chains, community and economic development, access to good food for all, and stewardship of the environment. It means we can all be innovators. And as a movement, we need to share these innovations so that others can use and adapt them. So where are we going? Where are we evolving to? And what can we do about it to keep it moving? Much of the growth that we've seen in healthy food systems has been the result of localized efforts out of the grassroots, where, through innovation, people are forging new value chains. Innovation and creativity are essential, and sharing innovation in an open way is critical. But just as critical is the financial literacy and the business discipline it takes to build and grow social enterprises. $9 billion sounds like a lot, but it's just a small fraction of the $1.4 trillion food system. We have a long way to go to reach a scale where we're really a significant component of that system. But the phone is ringing, right? The phone's ringing. And on the other end are the retail chains, the restaurant chains, the food service companies, school districts. Things are really ready to explode here. Companies that make up much of that 1.4 trillion want to work with us. So what? So we need to scale out and we need to scale up so that we become much more a part of this landscape. But let's be very clear that the purpose of scaling is not just to get bigger and get more market share. That's the old model. The purpose for scaling for us is to have more impact. It's a strategy so that more farmers, more communities, and more acres benefit and have more self-determination in how they feed themselves. To me, scaling out is replicating and adapting many of the direct market innovations that work, like food boxes, farmers markets, CSA, restaurants owning farms, and much more. There's hundreds of innovations. Making these more permanent and everyday parts of our lives is scaling out. Scaling up is going to mean growing the size of these food businesses and the number of the businesses so that they can benefit from some of the economic and logistical efficiencies that come with size. As these enterprises grow and engage with the dominant system, the challenge we face is to keep our values. The values of healthy, fair, green, and affordable, keeping it front and center and build them into the business plans. That's what a social enterprise is it builds values into the business plans of the businesses that are going to emerge and are going to scale this thing. In other words, we want to work with the conventional system, but we want to do it on our own terms. The part of the journey that we're in the evolution is discovering what those terms are and how our values translate into business practices and how they operationalize into the new scaled context. This is and will remain a significant challenge for quite a while. But to do this, we need to support the development of businesses, innovative social enterprises that produce, distribute, sell, and prepare the food that we eat. We need to actively support their development. At the Wallace Center at Winrock, we focus a lot on regional food hubs as a strategy to do this. We think it'll help increase the supply of good food while having a social impact we want and generate revenue that allows this approach to continue and expand. A regional food hub is a business that actively manages some of the core functions in the supply chain: aggregation, distribution, and marketing of source-identified food products, primarily from local and regional producers into wholesale markets. The difference between a food hub and the conventional food distributor are the values that underpin its very existence. Food hubs are committed to buying from small and mid-sized local producers. They ensure that producers get a fair price for their products. They work closely with those producers to build the capacity so they can be an effective part of the supply chain and meet buyer requirements. They work with buyers on the other end, right, to help them adjust their systems to accommodate regional sourcing versus global sourcing, which is what they're really set up for. Many are committed to addressing food access inequities. In fact, 60% have a mission focused on improving human health. Most are expanding markets for sustainably produced products. And regional food hubs are working closely with healthy food system organizations and advocates. And they play a role, an active role, in that change-making process. So as we scale up the business of good food, be it food hubs or other models, we need to be vigilant that we keep these values connected to the operations, embedded in the business, and make choices that reflect those values, such as who owns the business, who benefits from the business, what are the production and labor standards in that value chain, who do they buy from, who do they sell from, and under what conditions do they do these things. These are the embedding of the values in the operation and in the engagement with the conventional system. At the Wallace Center, we're in the business of spreading innovation and helping to appropriately scale good food systems. We do this in a number of ways. First, we create a space for spreading innovation. The National Good Food Network is a community of practice that connects these businesses and others to foster peer-to-peer learning and support this evolution. We build the capacity of people to adopt and adapt these innovations. We provide technical assistance in many ways. We have a successful webinar series that features innovations from across the country, talking about the nuts and bolts of the operations of hubs and other enterprises. We identify and address key challenges in scale, and we seek solution. For example, compliance with food safety regulation. We're working hand in hand with USDA to develop a group gap approach to food safety certification that should cut the time and the cost to small and mid-sized farms and reduce barriers to entering wholesale markets. And we track changes in the sector, and we do research that the broader group of stakeholders, those that aren't on the front lines, need to have in order to understand these innovations and get on board. For example, with Michigan State University, we do a national survey of food hubs that helps us understand the various approaches that they take, the impacts and the challenges. With Farm Credit East, we're doing a financial benchmarking study that helps understand where hubs and others can improve and be more efficient. A healthy, good food system is an idea whose time has come. At the Wallace Center, we're going to continue to cultivate, nurture, and spread innovation in order to see this system scale out and scale up in a way that serves all of our values. You've heard the familiar quote from Buckminster Fuller, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete." To me, this sounds exactly like what we're all doing together. It's been good to be with you today. Thank you.